for being guilty of culpable homicide, but not guilty of premeditated murder in that crime against his girlfriend. So that's begun here. Lord knows how long it's going to take. The trial, Lord knows how long 16 years trial going. So, who knows how long it may be before there is a sentence. How long it may be before it's interesting to see the difference in what the defense or the prosecutor wants. With the defense, what the difference in here, sure enough, we'll see no minimum sentence, they say, for the crime he was convicted of. However, the crime he was convicted of, traditionally, homicide, traditionally 5-year jail sentence is the kind of standard guideline that people are used when a firearm was involved in a firearm culpable homicide, but not murder charge. So it'll be interesting to see how close to that they come, or if he walks completely, or if they go a little bit harsh completely, or testimony is continued there in that trial. So that's the latest. And that will update. That is the week goes out. We're looking ahead to tomorrow. Well, you know what? Tomorrow the Cavs are in action. We'll talk more about that. And we'll talk some more about that. About the trip to Brazil as the Cavs return back home. LeBron James didn't play very much in the game the other day. Cavs did pretty handily. Cavs did things early. Then the game became a shootout in the late stages. They were 122 to 119 in preseason victory. It was what it was. Kevin Love had 25. Dion 16. Bergeron had 14. Tristan 18 off the bench. That's where I continue to say, man, the Cavs' depth is into me. Man, the Cavs people don't agree with that. I know Cavs don't agree with that. It's going to really show itself here this season. LeBron, noticeably conspicuous. He played a minimal amount of time. I think he played less than 20 minutes the other day. And really, I got to say, and maybe some people will disagree with this. I have no, maybe some people have never said anything. That some people have never said anything, but I'm very low focus on LeBron James. Very low focus part of the preseason. A lot more focused on the rest of the team, more offense and the resting teams part of things. I like that. I mean, because part of things, you know, but at the same time, I don't. What I'm not saying, I'm not trying to say. What I'm not trying to say either. But you know, I like that the focus is not on him offensively. Focus is on him. That's kind of the go-to move. You know, you can always kind of tweak things. You know, you can always heavier on a certain guy. So that's great to have in your back pocket if you want to pull it off in your time to talk him during the season. I think that time is probably the strategy for the Cavs as far as strategy utilizing LeBron in full carry the load deal. You know, they'll be carry the load, but the same thing. There'll be times that you can say the same thing with Love. There'll be times that you can do hopefully the same thing with Kyrie Irving. Hopefully the same host Kyrie Irving of having a 3-star shooting like that. But in the early starts, a lot of early start for these guys to get together. Kyrie didn't play the other day, still out with the ankle. Said he would have played if it was a regular season game, but I still don't like the fact that, what can you do though? I mean, if Anderson Varejao is going to land on you, something probably going to break. So it's not that far out of the realm of things to happen for that to have happened. A bad break, literally, but it wasn't a break. So hopefully that thing doesn't keep him out too long, because he's one that does. I do want to see him get in the rhythm. They get back at it tomorrow, home preseason game as the preseason continues to roll on. Now the talk is, will they continue to rest LeBron James more throughout? There's talk he may sit out one of the preseason games here this week as they get closer to the season. I told you guys, I'm not saying that he came to Cleveland on a walker, but I did say this when he signed. I said, for those of you guys that are going, man, he's in his prime, he's not. He's in his prime age-wise, but mileage-wise, he was in his prime 2 years ago. He's in the back end of his prime right now. That is true. He's still in the upper part, but it's the part that starts trending down. Not necessarily just by what you can do on the court, because Michael Jordan showed that as he reached that part of his career, many guys have shown that they can stay very effective by changing their game. I'm talking about the injury part, the part where your wear and tear and your miles start to get on you, and he's been a larger than average player physically, with the weight that he carries on his body and his joints for so long, and you can see it. I said, people say, man, he came to Cleveland a few years sooner than I expected. To me, that's why. That's the answer to that question. And I know that that's kind of a backhanded way to look at him coming back to Cleveland. I'm not saying he limped back to Cleveland because he's at the end of his career. What I'm saying is he knew that he has a few more really good ones left, And then I'm just saying, you start doing the tours around the league, and people start buying you Cadillacs and giving them to you in every town. And you know how it is. Derek Jeter just did it. I don't believe LeBron James plays basketball after his 35th birthday in the NBA. I believe he's got 5 years left. I believe that's going to be, and maybe he'll play a token level for a year or two after that, but I don't see it. He's made such a high level of money that you truly have to have that insane passion for the game to keep going at that point. And I agree with you. You got a guy like Michael Jordan who's 50, and now he wishes he could get 5 more years to go back out there and relive his glory days. But I just don't see it. I said it when LeBron came into the league with the Cavs. I don't see him being a guy like Ray Allen. He's not going to stay until he's 40. He's not going to put 20 years into the league. I just don't see it. Because he started so early. Which you guys got to remember, these cats now starting at 18, they're starting 3, 4, 5 years earlier than Magic Johnson and Larry Bird and Michael Jordan and that whole era of guys that all played a minimum year or 2 or 3 in college. So that comes off the back end. And where a guy would traditionally play until he was 36, 37, 38, now he's reaching that point of his career at 34, 35, 36. And I do think that that's the beginning of that here with LeBron. And I think that it's very smart for them to minimize his exposure in the early parts of the season and ramp it up as you go. It's the same thing, and I'm not, because you guys know that I don't do the Jordan LeBron thing because I think Michael Jordan is the greatest player in the history of basketball. But it's what the Bulls did. It's what Michael Jordan personally did with his personal trainer in the second half of his career as well. He prepared himself a different way, and he prepared himself from night to night during the season. There would be a dozen nights where Phil Jackson would have to have LeBron go out there and, or not LeBron, excuse me, Michael Jordan go out there and carry the load. But there were plenty of other nights that Scottie Pippen scored his 40, and then, this guy did that. And sometimes you get a hot night by Paxson or B.J. Armstrong in the first run, or in the second run you get a hot night by Steve Kerr. Or you get Tony Kukoc would go off on certain nights. So, he had much more of a well-rounded supporting cast, and that's what you're going to see, I think, here with LeBron 2.0. But Cavaliers back at it this week, back at home, game tomorrow night. We'll talk about that tomorrow. Jeff Gorman from Indians101.com is here tomorrow. We'll look at the next game in the American League Championship Series, talk about some playoff baseball, a little bit of tribe talk. Sandy Alomar not going to get the Diamondbacks job. The A's coach has been picked up there. Chip Hale is going to be the manager for Arizona. We'll talk about that with Jeff Gorman. Dr. Football, Bill Checkis is in the house. Talk about the latest with him. Talk some Monday Night Football and Peyton Manning and getting ready to go for the record here. Maybe he goes off and gets it, or next week. We'll talk about all of that and the Browns. And then, of course, Doug Plagans, my man, the voice of the Lake Erie Monsters, will be here as he is during Lake Erie Monsters season, because guess what? It's Lake Erie Monsters season. That's why he's going to be here. The regular season has officially begun for the Lake Erie Monsters. They had a back-to-back this weekend, and they did it backwards. They dropped one and they won one. They could have done it the other way. They took the opener on the road 4-0 over the Griffins, but then they fell in the home opener 3-2 to the Griffins. A 1-1 start for the season there, and a good start to the season for the Columbus Blue Jackets over the weekend as well. We'll talk to Doug Plagans tomorrow about the beginning of Monster season. Dr. Football's in the house, Jeff Gorman, and you guys, and let's do it. Thank you. This was a supersized edition of the Sports Fix today, coming off of a supersized Browns victory over the Pittsburgh Steelers. You guys, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Thank you so much to all of you that were a part of it, and we'll see you tomorrow when you know it. Do I got to say it? Same bat time, same bat channel, live at noon here on the Sports Fix Radio Network. We love you, Cleveland. We'll see you tomorrow. Survival's a must on these streets. We hustle.